How do you feel about national right to carry? National right to carry. Yeah, we're working on it.
As you saw, Trump was at the Mack Trucks plant in Pennsylvania yesterday talking about the economy, tariffs, jobs. An NRA member in the crowd asked him directly about national right to carry. Trump polled the room. He got really big cheers in doing so and then said, "Yeah, we're working on it." Are you really? Are you really? Gun owners immediately lit up online. Finally, nationwide constitutional carries on the table. Headlines started popping up everywhere. But let's be real about this, folks. Is this a political win tied to the Second Amendment that we've been waiting for all this time? Or is this just more two-way catnip thrown at us to get us fired up and redirected, not focusing on other stuff? Like, oh yeah, Second Amendment, we got the rights, yay, thank you, Trump. Do we really have reason to be grateful? Today I'm going to break down what Trump actually said. I'm also going to talk to you about the two main bills sitting in Congress right now regarding constitutional carry. I'm also going to share with you their statistical chances of becoming law. And I'm going to tell you what the Trump administration could do regarding the ATF without even waiting on a sluggish Congress to react, because we know they don't want to. So regarding what I stated earlier, Trump kind of took a question from an NRA member, pivoted to NRA gun-related type stuff, and just popped off that, hey, we're working on that. It's not like he dropped an executive order or announced some immediate bill signing. He just took a question from the crowd and said, my administration is, quote, working on it. Now, look, this isn't nothing. I do think the administration has somewhat of a track record of at least starting early last year when he took office and trying to do little things, small things. There's been pinpricks of pro-Second Amendment stuff. Now, not the big stuff we've been waiting on, because we have been waiting on big stuff. But we do see them throwing some breadcrumbs out there, and I do acknowledge that's what they are, breadcrumbs, but they are something. In his first term, reciprocity was a major talking point. In this term, we've seen moves regarding ATF rules, rollbacks on previous administration restrictions, and proposed budget cuts to the agency. But a verbal promise of, quote, working on it for national carry is still classic political rhetoric. Oh, sure, it fires up the base. It drives engagement and keeps the community focused on massive, shiny legislative goals. I'm not saying it's completely empty. I'm saying we're used to seeing this, and we recognize it whenever it's tossed out like that. We know better than to hold our breath for Congress to deliver an overnight miracle. We've seen this script. Now, there are already two pieces of legislation floating around out there right now regarding reciprocity and constitutional carry. First, there's the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, H.R. 38, introduced by Representative Richard Hudson. This one focuses strictly on reciprocity. If you can legally carry in your home state, whether via a formal permit or through state-level constitutional carry like we have here in Louisiana, then other states that allow concealed carry must respect your home state status. Think of it exactly like standard driver's license reciprocity, but applied directly to your Second Amendment rights. It's already cleared the Judiciary Committee and is sitting on the union calendar with strong co-sponsorship. This is structurally the more passable of these two bills. Second, there's the broader, more absolute option, which is the National Constitutional Carry Act. I like this one better, I got to tell you. Senator Mike Lee introduced S-4013 in the Senate, with Representative Thomas Massie holding a companion version in the House. This version skips the reciprocity paperwork entirely and aims for true nationwide permitless carry. It seeks to preempt local and state level restrictions, establishing the Second Amendment as your definitive carry permit across all 50 states. It's the version that gun rights purists champion because it aligns directly with original constitutional intent. So the first bill is not constitutional carry. It's a reciprocity issue. That's why it's probably easier to pass, because there's less good stuff for us, as plainly as I can put it. It means that if your state still requires a concealed carry permit, then you can use that permit in another state. They will reciprocate. Whereas the Senate bill with Mike Lee and backing by Thomas Massie, that bill is full constitutional carry. It says that all states have to reciprocate, but it also says that all states will not require a permit. That's constitutional carry. Folks, real quick, this segment is brought to you by CMMG. They make the finest rifles on the market. You guys know these guys are good to me. I have been a fan of theirs long before I ever partnered up with them. Just love their products. They work. You probably got The number of firearms in this room right now are CMMG on a grand scale. Right now, they've changed my code from FTATF to FTATF 10. Now, for a limited time, if you go there, you can get 15% off by using that code FTATF 10. This is mainly just to get you to start using the new code and stop using my older code that was FTATF. So now it's FTATF 10, and for a limited time, you're going to get 15% off. Now, eventually, it will default to 10% only. But if you go now, take advantage of that 15% off. FTATF 10. Now for the mathematical reality check. Legislative trackers place H.R. 38, which is the reciprocity bill, at roughly 37% chance of becoming law during this congressional session. It's not impossible, but it is a very steep hill to climb. While the House has the momentum to move it, the Senate remains the primary structural roadblock due to the 60-vote filibuster threshold. It would require immense sustained presidential pressure to force a vote on this. The comprehensive national constitutional carry version, legal modeling puts their chances at about 1 to 3%. It ain't good. And that's not me being pessimistic either, guys. That's reality. Senator Lee's bill faces immense friction getting out of committee with its current co-sponsor numbers. These bills represent a massive federal preemption over state laws, and even within a conservative Congress, many lawmakers hesitate to override local jurisdictions so completely. So while the phrase, "we're working on it," sounds optimistic, you eat an elephant one spoon at a time. So this might be the first spoon. So while the elephant may get eaten at some point, it's going to be a while. And Congress ultimately controls the legislative counter, and with midterms approaching, competing priorities could easily see these bills stall out. Now here's where this conversation gets practical. And while I don't think we should be waiting on Congress in any kind of way, the executive branch has already demonstrated it can act rapidly to restructure federal agencies whenever it wants to. Look at how the administration managed USAID. They froze funds, they initiated immediate operational reviews, and they shifted structures entirely from executive oversight and targeted budgeting. So why aren't we doing that with the ATF? I realize some notable steps have happened. The administration proposed a 25% to 29% budget reduction for the upcoming fiscal year, and they rolled back several controversial administrative rules regarding stabilizing braces and definitions of who is engaged in business. Great. But don't stop there. I mean, you're showing us you can do these things. And I agree that the current leadership has publicly refocused agency directives towards targeting actual violent crime rather than conducting administrative paperwork audits on law-abiding dealers. But remember, nobody elected the ATF. Executive power can go further. While completely abolishing an agency requires an act of Congress, literally, an administration can continue to downsize enforcement divisions, reallocate resources, streamline individual compliance procedures purely through executive order, and defund them. If the goal is to reduce bureaucratic overreach affecting gun owners, the tools are already sitting on the president's desk. We don't need another public poll. We need the administrative state to scale back its footprint immediately. At the end of the day, the fundamental truth of self-defense does not rely on these stupid things. We have the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not require approval for a permit to carry in any state or even nationwide. At the end of the day, the fundamental truth of self-defense doesn't shift based on a speech or a legislative calendar. The Second Amendment recognizes a pre-existing natural right to self-preservation. It doesn't originate from a government permission slip. States like Louisiana and Texas recognize this through constitutional carry laws, allowing law-abiding adults to protect themselves without state-issued boundaries. But for the areas where the laws remain complex and unreciprocated, every individual gun owner faces a personal calculation. True personal security doesn't suddenly lose its value the moment you cross an arbitrary state line. And here's a part where I'm going to tread softly because the YouTube powers are listening. While legal compliance is critical and navigating complex local ordinances is a challenge we all have to manage, the ultimate responsibility for protecting your family rests on your shoulders, not Washington's. It's your decision, regardless of what your local rules and laws are, to determine where you intend to be safer, if you know what I mean. I would always prefer to navigate a complex legal landscape after the fact than try to explain to my family why I chose to be unprepared when a crisis occurred. And I know most of you know exactly what I mean and what I'm implying here. Trump's comments are a positive signal for the community. I get that. And these congressional bills, I think, are absolutely worth pushing for. But never outsource your personal safety to federal politicians. Train consistently. Understand the special legal landscape of wherever you travel and wherever you live. And remember that self-reliance is the core foundation of our culture. Guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to Legally Armed America and comment down below what your thoughts are. Were you encouraged when you heard this by Trump, or did you figure, this is just more of the same? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, stay armed, be dangerous, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.